Hey there everyone, it's Misty here from TheJollyFatElf. Thank you so much for joining me. Before we get into today's video, I just wanted to let you know about this fun little bundle I have for sale. I did a Halloween card for Scrapbook Pal, and as you guys know, I don't do any fall or Halloween cards. I move directly into Christmas. So if you're interested, it's this set of Big Fright dies from Tim Holtz, and then this kind of spooky friend stamp and die from Sizzix, and then this pad of paper. So if you're interested, I'll take $40 in the US, and that includes shipping. So you can just leave me a comment or reach out to me at TheJollyFatElf@gmail.com. Okay, let's get into today's card. So this is actually turned into a one stamp three ways. So if you're new to me or new to my channel, I do this series on the regular where I take one stamp and show you how to use it three different ways. So if you saw last week, I mentioned that I am a current guest designer for Gerda Steiner, and I made a card using the Snow Angel stamp set. And I actually made a card where they were swimming in a swimming pool, and I will have that linked in the description box down below. I think it turned out so fun and so cute. I absolutely love it. So in today's video, I am going to be coloring these little friends again, but this time we're going to actually make a holiday card. So if you didn't know, my holiday card series starts on the Wednesday after Labor Day. So we are about to be full-fledged in holiday card season, and I cannot wait. It's my most favorite time of the year. I have so much fun with it, and I'm excited to spend this time with you guys. So I am coloring. I will have all of my markers listed in the description box down below. There will also be a link to a coordinating blog post if you'd like to see the pictures up close. You also notice on the pictures at the end that I have a new setup for the holiday cards, and I am so excited for that. So just let me know what you think. So I colored Santa, and I just realized that I colored one cuff and didn't color the other. I have no idea if it looks that way in the final picture. But you guys know I love the red combo R59, 46, and 35, and I used that on Santa's coat, and then again on Rudolph's nose, and then our little snowman's hat, and then eventually his scarf as well. For the snowman, I probably should have used a different color for him, but you guys know I don't like to shade white with gray because it just makes it look dirty to me. So this is BG11, and I ended up using these blue greens for the snow around him as well. But my thought process at the time was like, well, he's made of the snow around him, so it makes sense that he would be the same color as the snow around him. Listen, sometimes my brain is an interesting place to be, let me tell you. So that's how I went ahead and colored him. I used BG11, then went in with some blender pen to help blend him out. And then I colored all of the snow around each of the characters in BG11, and then used the colorless blender to blend it out. And here, oh, I did notice that that I needed to color that. Good job, Misty. So I absolutely love this stamp set. Again, I have one more card for you guys. I don't know if that'll be next week or if maybe I'll push it back a week because I want to get in a couple of non-holiday cards. And like I have two other stamp sets that I need to play with and want to play with. So I may save that other card for maybe the first day of the holiday card series, which will be a Wednesday. And so it'll be kind of a bonus because I only needed to do 4 projects. But it'll get posted. I just don't know when because I have that cute little Melon Muncher stamp set that I want to play with. And then I have the cute cats and boxes. And you'll see that. We'll do a regular card with that, but you're going to see that during my holiday card series for sure. I'm sad because I missed Gerda Steiner just had a summer sale and I missed it. I wasn't paying attention and I was like, oh, I missed it by a day. So you know I was going to have my cart loaded up with all their Christmas stamps. I have holiday on the brain. So yeah. Okay, for Santa's skin, I started closest to his nose with the darkest and then worked my way to the lightest. And one thing that I did that I don't normally do is I brought in R20 and I colored over his nose. So kind of glazed over the color that was already there to make it look like it was a little bit rosy. And in real life, that looks really cute. You can't even really see it on camera, but in real life, you can. So coloring Rudolph, I am starting kind of the same way that I did for Santa, just kind of where it would be the darkest. You guys know I like to color darkest to lightest, and then go into the middle and make it a little bit lighter. So that's what I'm doing here. And again, I will have all of the markers listed down below. I tried to use many of the same markers. That way I wasn't using like 15 or 20, but sometimes I still use 15 or 20 anyway. So I am coloring his snout, muzzle, snout. I'm not sure what you would call it, but again, and I'm just using the same color for his muzzle snout as I do for his antlers, except I do make his antlers, her antlers, her antlers, I make her antlers a little bit lighter. So I always forget that it's the female reindeer that keep their horns and the males who don't have them. So I got educated that one year where I put a bow. I mean, a male reindeer could still wear a bow, but I had no idea. I mean, I knew they were real reindeer, but I didn't know that. Okay, so for this gingerbread, I colored him completely different than I did in my last video. In my last video, I said I wish I'd started with the darkness around the edge and worked my way lighter to the middle, because that's kind of how a cookie would bake. It would be darker around the edges and then move, lighter to the inside. Maybe not necessarily gingerbread like that, but that's how I thought in my head. I'm not a huge fan of gingerbread. I did mention I like ginger snap, so there's that. Ginger isn't my favorite. Like, I'll drink ginger ale when I don't feel well, but ginger is not a favorite spice for me. Okay, so instead of a cardinal this time, I made a cute little bluebird. And again, I'm just coloring darkest to lightest. I really love how he turned out. I think he turned out so sweet. And he and the snowman end up not being on this card. So you guys will watch me color them now. And then when we do the next card, they'll be on that card for sure. So one of my markers was low on ink, so I had to find one that was close enough. So I do not buy re-inkers. I think I've mentioned this before. I just buy a whole new marker, and maybe some people think that's wasteful, but the issue I ran into, I was buying refills for markers that needed new, like that foam in the middle, and once that's dried out, there's no coming back from that, from what I've been told. So I was still having to buy a new marker. So that's what I've done. I've just bought new markers. Now I do have refills for some of the colors I use a lot, like the BGs, some of my reds, some of the grays I use on the regular. But for most of them, I just buy a new marker. Scrapbook Pal already has one of the best prices on the internet for Copic markers, and then they'll do a 10 or 15% off sale, and I'll stock up then. So, yeah. So the card I mentioned earlier was the pink queen card, the pink Halloween card. I had so much fun with that. But you guys know I just don't do Halloween. So I would rather this go to a family that would like it. And yeah. Okay, so for Santa's beard, I did shade with gray only because we kind of go white, but a lot of us also have gray in our hair. So yeah. So I gave him little shoes this time. I think they turned out so sweet, but that is all of them colored. I'm going to bring in some gel pen to add some accents, and then I'm going to cut them out with my scissors. They do have dies. I'm going to pick them up at some point, but yeah, there are dies available for this set. So I'm just using a white gel pen, which I hate. I hate white gel pens. I hate them. I don't like any of them. But I'm using it to add a little dot of white to the ones that have their eyes open. So for the card kind of layer and base, this is a die from Hello Bluebird. I used it a few years ago on some elf cards, but it cuts out the big frame, and it cuts out an inner frame, and of course it cuts out the 4 on the window. Here I am just adding the black marker as I do once I'm done with cutting stuff out. So this is a bag of miscellaneous doodlebug leftovers, and I promised myself that I would use up as much scraps as I could this year, or use old paper pads, and that's what I am trying to do. I am definitely trying to do that. So yeah. So I went ahead and cut a piece of that candy stripe paper. I'm going to use that for this North Pole sign that we'll talk about in a minute. But I decided to go ahead and bring in a lighter color to go, because I was going to do that polka dot because it has a green, like the trees on the other side, but I decided that I wanted something different. So I still have this frame lying around. You'll probably see it later. So I just wasn't happy with either one of those. I felt like they were really busy. So I found this gingham paper that I have from MFT, and I'm going to go ahead and use that instead. So this is a North Pole sign from a kit from Queen & Co. So it'll make a shaker, but you can also cut it flat. And then you can see, so I did the sign in white. I am doing the North Pole part in red, but you guys know when it's something this little, I like to put adhesive paper behind it. And I had this one small scrap of this heart paper, so I used that for the sign front. And then I'm using the little candy stripe for the what is that called? The bottom of it? What is that called? I don't know, the bottom of it. I'm using that on the bottom of it, and then I'm going to run all of these through my die cutting machine. I did pick up a magic mat from scrapbook.com, and I am on the fence. Because it still gets all warped in my Gemini Junior, and they say that you can use a heat gun on it, but even after 10 minutes of a heat gun on it, I can't get it to go back to the way it was. So I'm on the fence. So if you have one of these and you have some pointers with your Gemini machine, please let me know. Okay, so I brought in this blue. It's really hard to see up close, but it has a really faint pattern. So you guys know when I do pattern paper, I do a large pattern, a medium pattern, and then a small pattern. So the large, of course, is the red and green plaid. Then our kind of mid-tone is the the green gingham. And then, of course, our small one, or one that could be almost look like it's flat and there isn't a pattern, is, of course, the blue. And I wanted them to be on blue, but I didn't want to ink blend anymore. So I went ahead and just did it that way rather than creating backgrounds for them. I'd already worked on this card for a very long time because I could not make up my mind. I couldn't make up my mind. I had so many different ideas for it. And finally I was like, Misty, it doesn't have to be this complicated. Just do what you want to do and get it over with. So yeah. And initially I did cut out the ball top for this, but I wasn't even going to try to get that adhered or anything. So I just brought in a silver Sharpie marker and colored it that way. So I'm going to go ahead and get this adhered. I believe this is 6x6. I could be wrong. I had to buy its own envelopes for it because it is not something that I normally carry for my cards, because I don't normally do this size, but I have the envelopes. I thought these worked really well for this die, and I do really like how it turned out. So I'm just trimming that down, and then I'm going to adhere the frame using some Tombow Mono liquid glue. That is my glue of choice. I haven't tried the berry art. I haven't, and that's because I have like 30 of these Tombow Mono ones. I bought a ton of the XL ones, and I probably have enough liquid glue for the rest of my life. So once I finally get this glue done, then I will try the berry art glue. I promise. I know some of you have been after me to try it. I will, I promise. I just don't want to invest in it when I have all this other. So this was kind of my idea for placement. I knew I wanted the North Pole down in the corner, kind of on its side, and then I wanted to put the characters in their own square. So I am using some dimensional adhesive and just cutting them in half where I need to. It was the hardest with Rudolph because of the antlers, but once I do that, we're going to get them adhered. Aren't they so cute? This card turned out so stinking cute. I absolutely love it. So I will have all of my holiday cards available starting after Labor Day. And I'm going to try to update the shop weekly so you guys will have an opportunity to buy the cards I make. So you know me, it's not a holiday card. Well, let's be honest. It's not a card unless I add some shimmer. And I was trying to add my Nuvo, but it was just about empty. So I did use this one from Spectrum Norm. So other than that, that's it, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate you. Don't forget to check out Gerda Steiner and all of their information linked in the description box down below. Give them a hi. Go comment on the blog post, on their Facebook pages, etc., etc. And just let me know if you are interested in that Halloween bundle. I'll see you guys Friday for another card. Bye for now.